Pink is one of the most classic colors in Power Rangers. Iconic characters like Kimberly, Mighty Morphin, Jen Scott's Time Force, and Kendrix Morgan, Lost Galaxy, defined entire generations while wearing that color. But it wasn't always like this. Some Power Rangers seasons never adapted the Pink Ranger, even though she existed in the original Japanese version, Super Sentai. And worse, entire teams never made it to the West, which caused several Pink Rangers to be completely overlooked, including male Pink Rangers. To start things off, Power Rangers SPD is widely considered one of the best seasons in the franchise, featuring a strong cast and memorable original scenes. And yes, there is a Pink Ranger on the team. However, in Super Sentai, we actually had two Pink Rangers operating at the same time. The character Ten Haradzuki is introduced in a special movie as a new recruit of SPD's Earth Division. With an unusual ability, she experiences precognitive dreams that allow her to foresee events in an imprecise way, but accurate enough to warn the team about dangers or future situations. This trait defines her role throughout the entire special. We see that she wears the same uniform as Deka Pink from the TV series, who is also present in the movie. In other words, we truly have two Pink Rangers here. Ten Haradzuki's introduction happens when an incident brings a Blue Ranger from another Super Sentai season into the Deka Rangers universe. Ten is already working at the Earth base and shares a vision she had in a dream with her teammates, something that stands out for being vague yet highly relevant to how the events unfold. Throughout the special, Ten acts more as psychic support and a narrative bridge than a frontline fighter. Her value lies in sensing possible futures and alerting the others, helping the team make decisions during moments of confusion. That said, we do see her in action as well, using her Ranger suit and stepping in whenever necessary. In terms of screen time, her role is temporary and tied specifically to the special, supporting the story, interacting with the main cast, and providing an explanation for the strange events caused by the arrival of the mysterious Blue Ranger. Once the conflict is resolved, her involvement comes to an end with no follow-up in the regular episodes, remaining exclusive to that direct-to-video release.
In Power Rangers Dino Thunder, the American adaptation of the 27th Super Sentai season, audiences followed a smaller team that, just like in the original Japanese version, did not officially include a Pink Ranger. Even though it uses the Japanese season as inspiration, the story is quite different, since Mesogog exists only in the Power Rangers version. However, in the original Japanese series, there is a character deeply associated with the color pink, Emiri Imanaka, known as Abare Pink, whose journey is defined by persistence, frustration, and a strong desire to belong. From the moment the Bakuryu arrived on Earth, Emiri showed a unique connection by hearing their call, coming very close to becoming Abare Yellow. Her body, however, couldn't withstand the transformation, preventing her from officially joining the team at that time. Even so, Emiri remained an active collaborator, contributing intellectually by creating iconic names for the team, its equipment, and its transformations, proving that her importance went far beyond direct combat. Determined to prove her worth, Emiri never gave up on her dream of becoming an Abara Ranger. That effort paid off when, after the defeat of Tensai Chick, she was finally able to transform into a Bare Pink thanks to her psychic carrots, a peculiar resource that reflected both her creativity and her comedic instability, even temporarily turning her into a pig. Her journey was marked by countless misfortunes, including attempts at forced transformation into a gigantanoid, being completely frozen during the series' movie, and repeated situations where she became a direct victim of enemy threats. Even without permanent powers, Emiri went so far as to create her own Abare Pink suit to prove to her parents that she could be useful to the Abara Rangers and stay in the city, since they wanted to move to Thailand. After the end of the war against the Evolians, she continued working as a secretary, maintaining close ties to the team. Emiri represents an unconventional Pink Ranger, someone who, even without official status, fought tirelessly to be recognized as an essential part of the team.
Unfortunately, there is a Super Sentai season that was never adapted into Power Rangers. Aired in 2018, Kaito Sentai Lupin Ranger vs. Keisatsu Sentai Pat Ranger presented one of the most unconventional concepts in Super Sentai history by placing two hero teams on opposing sides of the same conflict. On one side were the Lupin Rangers, thieves seeking to recover stolen artifacts. On the other, the Pat Rangers, an international police force created to contain the threat of the Ganglers and restore order. It is within this clash between institutional justice and actions outside the law that Tsukasa Myojin emerges. Tsukasa was raised by her grandfather, a veteran police officer who shaped her character from an early age. While still young, she witnessed situations that convinced her that protecting people required more than good intentions. It demanded preparation, discipline, and responsibility. This mindset led her to join the Global Special Police Organization, where she quickly stood out for her level-headed attitude and her ability to remain calm under pressure. As the enemy threat escalates, the GSPO selects Tsukasa to join a special unit equipped with the VS Changer. Unlike many Rangers who receive their powers through chance or destiny, Tsukasa becomes a hero as a direct result of her career as a police officer. Her transformation represents the natural continuation of everything she already believed in. Justice requires action, but also awareness. Within the team, Tsukasa serves as a stabilizing presence. While her teammates often clash due to impulsivity or excessive rigidity, she reminds them that saving lives must always come before blindly following rules. Outside the suit, her personality reveals a curious contrast. Her fondness for cute and simple things like plush toys shows a humanity she rarely displays while on duty. In this way, Tsukasa Myojin stands out not only as the Pink Ranger of the Pat Rangers, but as proof that strength and sensitivity can coexist within the same ideal of justice. Here we have yet another season that was never adapted into Power Rangers. The 38th Super Sentai season, which aired in 2014, follows a group of young heroes who battled the Shadow Line, an organization responsible for overtaking human cities and turning them into territories ruled by darkness. From the very first episode, it is established that the heroes share a common past. As children, their cities were attacked, they were rescued by the Rainbow Lines, and as a result, their memories were sealed so they could continue living normal lives. Kagura Izumi is introduced as the most impulsive member of the group. Unlike the others, who often debate strategies or show uncertainty, Kagura tends to act first and deal with the consequences later. This behavior is reflected both in combat and in everyday situations, especially in episodes where her rash decisions place the team in danger, but also end up opening unexpected paths to victory. She uses her abilities and takes on the pink suit alongside the rest of the team early in the series, using the equipment provided by the conductors of the Rainbow Lines. Unlike heroes who struggle with doubt or rejection, Kagura accepts the role of Ranger immediately, treating the transformation as something completely natural. Over the course of the season, this is reinforced as her memories begin to return, revealing that she had always been part of that conflict since childhood. Within the team, Kagura often takes the lead in chaotic situations, especially when the group hesitates. In several confrontations with Shadow Line officers, it is her initiative that forces the team into action, even when the plan is not yet fully defined. In this way, Kagura Izumi stands out not through speeches or inner monologues, but through her constant presence in decisive moments, serving as a driving force within the Rangers' team dynamic.
Power Rangers Beast Morphers was the adaptation of the Super Sentai season Tokume Sentai Go Busters, which arrived many years after its original Japanese debut. In the American version, we are introduced to the Red, Blue, and Yellow Rangers, with the Silver Ranger and Gold Ranger being added later on. However, in a movie from the Japanese season, we are introduced to additional hero colors, such as the Green Hippopotamus, which I already explained in the previous video. If you want to know more, just click the card. In the film, after Nick's death, he is taken to a place where he meets a man who offers him a wish, as he is the 1,000,000th person to die. Nick wishes that Messiah's accident had never happened, which creates a new world where that disaster never occurred, and the main characters live very different lives. However, a new threat emerges on Earth, leading an organization to create the Dobutsu Sentai Busters, an animal-themed team tasked with protecting the planet. Unlike their original counterparts, these Rangers follow an animal motif instead of a spy theme, and the tone is much more comedic. Because of this, new heroes are introduced, such as Green Hippopotamus, Black Puma, and Pink Cat. Pink Cat is Rika Sakurada,
the older sister of Hiromu Sakurada, the Red Buster, reinforcing the family bond that is already central to Go Buster's mythology. In this alternate world created by Nick's wish, she is inspired by her brother's heroic attitude and takes on the identity of Pink Cat, a feline-themed warrior who fights alongside the team against the threat putting that universe at risk. Her role, although limited to the V cinema, is significant for expanding the concept of alternate Rangers and for introducing a new female representative directly connected to the emotional core of the story, contributing to the climax and to the special's experimental celebratory tone.
In 2024, the 48th Super Sentai season was released, yet another season that was never adapted into Power Rangers. Mira Shiftu is introduced as an exceptionally skilled driver, classified as a true driver, a specialist in high-precision driving and complex maneuvers. Working multiple part-time jobs, she demonstrates impressive technical ability, especially in pedal control, to the point of surprising even more experienced teammates like Taya Hondo and Ishiro. Initially seen as a laid-back and carefree young woman, Mira stands out as the one who brings levity to the group, even though her impulsive behavior often leads to trouble. Despite her friendly and cheerful appearance, Mira has a striking hidden side. When humiliated, imprisoned, or provoked by enemies, she enters a violent rage, fighting without hesitation until they are completely defeated. In rare situations, this intensity can even turn against her own allies if they try to stop her during combat. Her fighting style is highly intuitive, driven by instinctive reactions and raw sensitivity, reflecting her free-spirited and untamed personality. Mira's origin as Boon Pink is particularly significant. Forced into an arranged marriage, she's rescued at the altar by Taya Hondo, who is acting as a high-risk delivery driver. When an alien invasion interrupts their escape, Mira witnesses Taya fighting as Boon Red, and inspired by his determination, she decides not to return to a life controlled by others. By choosing to join the Boon Boongers, Mira asserts her independence, becoming a Pink Ranger who symbolizes freedom, courage, and self-determination within Super Sentai. Surrounded by animals and mystery, the 40th season of the Super Sentai franchise centers on a group of young heroes fighting to protect Earth after an alien race invades the planet, manipulating creatures known as Zoomans for its own purposes. The heart of this story is Yamato Kazakiri, Zuo Eagle, and his initial shock upon encountering a world where humans and animal instinct-driven beings must learn to coexist. Among the allies introduced throughout the series is Mario Mori, a character who, at first glance, seems to have no direct connection to the battle against the invasion. Mario is Yamato's maternal uncle and the owner of a sculpture workshop, where he creates animal figures and unknowingly inspires his nephew to pursue a career in zoology. For much of the series, Mario shelters his Zoomans in his home, unaware that they are beings with extraordinary abilities who are fighting to protect the world. When Mario finally discovers the true identity of the Zoogers during a confrontation, he doesn't back down. Instead, he begins supporting his allies in every way he can, offering shelter, knowledge, and above all, a sense of family amid the chaos. In episode 44 of the series, Mario even creates a suit inspired by the Zoogers, called Zuo Human, adopting a pink appearance to represent humanity within the team's animal-centered battle, a visual gag that also reinforces his role as a steadfast supporter of the group. He became the first Pink Ranger in live action. In this way, Mario Mori serves as a human anchor, an ally who reminds the heroes why they fight and what they are protecting, even when the world becomes too strange to recognize. In the American version of Power Rangers, Avataro Sentai Dome Brothers was never adapted, meaning there is no corresponding Pink Ranger in the Western franchise. This absence is significant, as it removes one of the most dramatic and psychologically complex characters ever associated with the color pink in Super Sentai. Tsuyoshi is the oldest member of the team and lives a simple life shaped by corporate work and a marriage that, at first glance, appears perfect. Lacking major personal ambitions, he defines his existence around his wife's well-being, consistently placing his own desires second. This mindset reveals a kind and helpful man, but also one who is deeply insecure, convinced that he does not deserve the happiness he has. As the group faces escalating conflicts, Tsuyoshi begins expressing his repressed emotions in dangerous ways. Whenever his love and fear of loss reach
reach extreme levels, he transforms into monsters known as Hitotsuki, each one embodying a specific desire: revenge, attachment, or denial. These transformations not only put civilians at risk, but also cause him to attack his own allies, often without fully realizing what he is doing. The central turning point of his emotional collapse occurs when the truth about his wife starts to surface. Unable to accept that his relationship was built on a lie, Tsuyoshi enters a state of obsessive denial. He begins to distrust everyone, severs important bonds, and allows resentment to guide his actions, revealing a cruel side that sharply contrasts with his initial personality. Only when he is confronted directly with reality does Tsuyoshi begin a slow process of acceptance and change. His journey turns Kiji brother into an atypical Pink Ranger, defined not by hope or lightheartedness, but by emotional fragility, obsession, and tragedy. For that very reason, his story remains one of the most intense and unsettling in Super Sentai, and one that was never explored in Power Rangers.
The 41st Super Sentai season, which aired in 2017, expands the scale of the conflict by taking it into outer space. Unfortunately, it was also never adapted for Western audiences. The season is set in a universe dominated by the Jark Matter organization, which controls entire planets through force and intimidation. Unlike many other teams, this group does not begin as a fully formed unit, but as individuals scattered across the cosmos who gradually come together to form an organized resistance. Raptor 283 is introduced in the very first episodes as part of the resistance base on Orion. She does not start out as a field combatant. Raptor is an android created to assist the rebellion, responsible for the ship, base systems, and the team's tactical support. Her initial role is clear: to coordinate, analyze data, and keep the Rangers operational while others fight directly against Jark Matter. The turning point comes when the team suffers losses and is forced to operate under constant pressure. Faced with a shortage of fighters, Raptor chooses to go beyond her original programming. Using the Raptor Q-Tama, she transforms for the first time into washy pink, officially becoming the team's Pink Ranger. Unlike other members, her transformation does not stem from a heroic past or an impulsive decision, but from practical necessity. Someone had to fill that role. Even after becoming a Ranger, Raptor remains split between support and the battlefield. In several episodes, she alternates between commanding operations remotely and engaging directly in combat, always prioritizing the team's overall efficiency. This dual role reinforces her importance within the group, as she understands both strategic logic and the risks of direct confrontation. Throughout the series, Raptor 283 establishes herself as a central figure in the Kyuranger resistance. Her journey is not defined by speeches or emotional protagonism, but by the conscious decision to step out from the rear lines when the situation demanded it, taking on an active role in the fight against Jark Matter. That's it. Thanks for watching.